All right, we're back. All right, Willie Mack's show. We're gonna watch a video by him, then one by Dr. K and Polyphemus. For whatever reason, I was just thinking of random crap. I just thought of Polyphemus, so that's gonna be our history segment. If we get that far, let's hope so. All right, Everybody Hates Candace by Willie Mack's show. For the record, I guess I wanted to check back in on kind of Candace Owens. I think the last thing I'd heard about her is that she had come up with some sort of crackpot theory that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler, which is it's a thing. No, for the record, I think I've said once, and I'm going to reiterate it. I don't think she's interesting enough to be insane in a medical sense, but there's perhaps a degree of narcissism that, it might be functionally the same thing, because she is at kind of the epicenter of a lot of attention, and she's might be getting a little bit high on that. Idea, hey, if money is the root of all evil, in my mind, narcissism is the root of all dysfunctional.
This is the internet.
A lot of it, anyways.
And I've accepted that nothing is sacred and that everything is going to be debated. I'm certain.
It's probably true. It feels like the algorithm, just in general, it feeds a lot on sensationalism. There's a certain degree of functionality to it, a lot as well. But you have tech review channels or software type of stuff, or cooking, or there is a degree of functionality that I think has a type of steady value in the algorithm. But even within that, there's still like a subset of the people who are the most personable, the people of the most interesting personalities. Those are going to rise to the forefront. It's that thing that makes them stand out. That's, I think, a lot of what gets you going in the algorithm. So,
not the joke police, but Candace Owens, who has marketed herself as Charlie Kirk's best friend, has done nothing but.
I really knew him well. No, he's right on that point. She has marketed herself in the most cloying sort of way as the person who is, like, I don't think she would say this out now, but it's just kind of like the vibe that I am the person who is closest to them. I'm the one you should trust. Everyone else is on at least a lower pedestal, if not downright suspect. I don't know.
Grifted his murder.
It feels like a very dastardly move on her part, that she's trying to almost isolate him from the people who, were actually the closest with him.
24 hours after he passed away, she posted, "To my friend Charlie Kirk," and she'd end the video saying she feels hurt.
She wasn't the only person to do that, so I don't blame her for that.
A lot of pain right now, and I love you, Charlie, and I'll see you when I'll see you. I love you very much.
This went on to be our most popular live stream ever. This would lead to the next 3 months being full of non-stop live streams coming up with baseless conspiracy theories about who killed Charlie. First, it was that people at Charlie Kirk's own company, Turning Point, betrayed him.
Like I alluded to last week, and which I will double down.
There's a point to be made that, like, yes, it's fine to have suspicions about stuff and to dig into it if you think there's reasonable doubt or something like that. But it feels like unless you have something conclusive, to put out a lot of theories serves only to get people's dander up and hurt the people who cared about him and cast aspersions on the people who cared about him. It's like, unless you can bring it to some sort of conclusive, like, forced perspective where, like, beyond a reasonable doubt, this is what happened, and you can resolve it in some way, just, perhaps look up the word discretion or something like that. Keep that crap under your hat.
On now, I believe that people within that company betrayed Charlie.
Now, what's her evidence of this? Well, it's that she saw it in a dream. I'm serious. It's that stupid.
I similarly, like I just said, had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so for me, you don't have to believe that, but I do believe that. It was the...
Again, keep that crap under your hat. For the record, I do believe dreams can be, meaningful. I've had dreams that I believe to be quite meaningful, but they're not exactly judicial evidence. They're not something that you could present in a court case or something that you could unless the other person involved really trusted you, they're not really something you can present to other people and say, yes, this proves it. It's not meaningless. It's not insignificant. It's just not something that's exactly material. It's not material evidence, as one would say.
Immediate sense I got actually, and I don't know who exactly it is that betrayed him, but I also felt in the dream that it is soon going to be revealed, that it's actually inevitable that it is going to be revealed. That
Did that happen? I don't really watch your stuff, so.
there is nothing and no one that is going to stop the truth from coming out, and it is going to have international consequences.
Again, did that happen?
Take that to the bank. Quote me on that.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that. This is all based off of her womanly intuition.
Women tend to have a stronger intuition about
Misogynist. Again, I agree with that, but again, it's not something, as she said, that you... But she mentioned taking it to the bank. You can't take that to the bank. It's woman's intuition. If you trust the person involved, again, that's meaningful, but it's not, yeah, it's just not, okay?
people, I would say.
Then suddenly everyone is involved. The US federal government is covering it up.
If you were going to bring me to the argument that this
No, it's not inconclusive. It's not insignificant, but it's not conclusive either.
truly was a miracle, it probably would not be in the midst of a circumstance where the feds are lying, right? That is like not now, right?
Israel is involved because Ben Shapiro said Candace should be condemned.
Grafty Jews.
Ben only cares about Israel's interests, so Israel is involved. Then it's France.
I can tell you the feds
I believe it. France is always up to something. And the Canadians. Crafty. Weirdos. Always being so polite. What are they up to?
are not doing that, because I was the one who said I had the information about the French Foreign Legion being on the ground the day that Charlie was.
I didn't think the French Foreign Legion still existed. Is that actually a thing still? I thought it was from the time when they were in Africa or something, but maybe it still exists. Hey, huzzah!
Assassinated, and the feds have not reached out to me.
It's because you're crazy. She blames France partially because she thinks the first lady has a penis.
And I think you
Brigitte
did that.
Macron has a penis. I really want you to
Brigitte
know
Macron
that.
does
Here's
not
what's
have a
important.
penis.
Brigitte Macron has a
Like Piers Morgan's show is like the ultimate kind of chaotic news destination. Like, I think he purposely gets on crazy individuals to. I think at this point it's kind of that's it's a gut feeling, but I feel it's also common sense, and it is also something that most people would agree with. Given that the guests he has on, he revels in that sort of crazy, in my mind.
She
Yes.
doesn't.
She thinks she's the main character. She's like, I found Egyptian planes. Isn't it suspicious the government isn't reaching out to me about this?
As soon as some podcaster was like,
Again, I think she's too boring to be like medically insane, and a certain part of it, actually on Joe Rogan's podcast the other day, he had Andrew Wilson on, and Andrew Wilson's talked about this, where she's kind of reached the point where her whole channel is built around this kind of excitement and sensationalism. So there might be a degree of it that's a type of acumen, or there might be an alternate version where she's literally just a grifter and she's just thinking, I have to make the bag while I can and keep this thing going as much as I can until the bubble pops. But I think there's also a possibility that she is literally just kind of in some sort of narcissistic fugue state at the epicenter of all this attention, and she's just in her own head. Like, her theories don't have to make sense. It's just her, pretty much. I don't know. I think that could be the cause of this in any case. It's just the fact that she's very important, very self-important at this moment in time.
hey, I found Egyptian planes and they're being kind of shady, I would be like, whoa, that is weird. What's up with these Egyptian planes?
It's like, wow, everybody killed Charlie besides Tyler Robbins.
Also, I'm not sure if fugue state is the right situation there. Narcissism, yeah. Like a narcissism-induced coma? Psychosis? That's right. Yeah. Nope. None of that made sense.
Like, even if you are somebody who is on the side of those who do believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger one way or another, would you ever describe what happened as quote unquote very clear?
Yes.
I'm guessing your answer to that would be no.
Because you've eaten all the glue. She has zero evidence of there being a second shooter, but she believes that over the official story. How? I don't know. Maybe she dreamt that up too. Remember, Candace claims to be...
The thing with, I think, conspiracy theorists is that they thrive on this notion of finding out of the ordinary things that seem to happen surrounding the thing they're talking about. The fact is, out of the ordinary things do happen every day. Most times people just ignore them. They don't really care. But yes, you can look at any given event on any given day, and something weird will have happened probably in that area or surrounding the area at some point. It just will. Right?
Charlie's closest friend. They're basically siblings.
Our relationship was real. We were brother and sister, you know.
Comes off as a little bit cloying.
We were fortified. Our relationship was forged in fire, the fire of politics. I knew him. I knew Charlie, the real Charlie.
But since
The real Charlie. The real Charlie.
she's used his death to tear down Charlie's political party, his company, his friends.
Do you
Well,
believe
how do we know
Mikey
that these
McCoy had any prior knowledge of Charlie's murder?
Mikey's behavior is weird on that day.
And now his widowed wife.
Weird.
None of us are involved in my husband's murder. Turning point.
It's like, not to be too misogynistic, but I do think that women tend to thrive in the area of threats that aren't made and accusations that aren't spoken. So, like, weird. It's very weird. Like, it states nothing outright, but you know exactly what they mean. I think women are perhaps better at certain types of doublespeak, innately to some extent.
USA, myself.
That doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me, and it shouldn't work for you.
She implies that she was worried about getting poisoned in her meeting with Erica Kirk.
I did not know if they were going to be open. I didn't know what Erica's energy was going to be like, if it was going to be more of an argument, if there was going to be legal threats. You guys were telling me not to drink water, so I didn't drink water. Well, I brought my own water, but I didn't drink that water too.
She has written this conspiracy to being the
Either. She didn't drink that water either.
#1 podcaster some weeks above Joe Rogan. She streams to over 300,000 people.
I feel like this is a bubble that's going to burst. And right now she's at the epicenter of all this. But, and maybe she knows that. Again, maybe she's some sort of grifter, but maybe she's literally just a narcissist who's riding high on the fumes. I'm not for sure.
Someday. Hassan is the second biggest political streamer, streaming to about 20,000 people, peaking at 45K last month. She is 10xing the next streamer in her genre, but it's because her streams are so exciting. She's talking about how France is
She does have that going for her.
trying to kill her. The f***ing government of France.
It feels especially urgent, right? Don't you feel a sense of urgency right now?
Speaking of which, at some point I want to do some sort of deep dive into Bonnie Blue as a character, and if I can find anyone where she's not dressed up like a lady who didn't listen to their mother.
Wake of me having learned that France apparently paid for my assassination.
She never elaborates on this, by the way. Also, why are you smiling? Aren't you about to be murdered? Candace's security is my
To be fair, that might have just literally been because she was saying a certain word. See, it looks like he's smiling right now. I don't think he's smiling.
top priority. That's why she
Okay,
needs to
maybe
protect
he is smiling. Never mind.
herself from data brokers and hackers by using Aura. Here's a redacted report of
Nice.
all the information that's likely out there on you right now on data broker sites. Birthdays, addresses, full names, phone numbers, emails, relatives, neighbors, photos, social media accounts, potentially your job. Don't be a sitting duck like me and my family were. Download Aura, the sponsor of today's video. I pay for this service out of my own pocket because
To be fair, this is probably a rather useful one these days. It's really, again, I've gotten the idea of, well, he's probably going to say it in this, but like they literally have to delete your stuff if he say, but it's just so annoying for most people that they know most people won't ask them to delete their data. So, Bob's your uncle.
best price. It's your own personal internet bodyguard. If your information is leaked to the dark web, Aura alerts you. If there's fraud attempts on your bank account, Aura alerts you. Not to mention it's a VPN, antivirus, password manager. Hell, it even reduces the amount of spam calls and spam emails you'll receive. Yes, these spam 14-day free trial. So go to Aura.com. I cannot recommend Aura enough. If I used it from day one, it would have saved me a lot of trouble. So go to Aura.com/WillyMac and use code WillyMac to start your 14-day free trial. That's enough time for Aura to start scrubbing your personal information off of these sites. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this video. I want to start off by saying Candace is either manic or completely evil because her conspiracy theories have zero logic, zero consistency.
Again, I don't know if I would say she's actually insane, but she might be functionally the same thing either way.
How would the current court case and the jury pool be impacted if you answered about why these Egyptian planes, why it's a statistical anomaly for these Egyptian planes to be surrounding Turning Point USA, Faith?
Again, weird stuff happens every day.
Events, you and Charlie.
Like, it feels like, yeah, it's not. I like to think everything's real. It's just a question of how is it real? How does it fit into the sum total? But you have to draw some sort of more meaningful connection, I think, than, oh, that's weird. Because again, weird stuff does happen.
This many times. How would that impact? And again, I'm a gut player. It's common sense. So forgive
Can you call it common sense if you're the only one who finds it sensible?
me for not being elite enough and educated enough and expert enough to understand how it would impact things. Explain it to me like I'm not a legal expert, like I don't trust legal experts.
This comes up later. Like, even in the field of conspiracy theorists, she's isolated. I think Nick Fuentes kind of said she was being crazy about some stuff about the Jews. Like, Nick Fuentes, who's probably one of the more zealous conspiracy theorists with regards to the Jews, right? Alex Jones was calling her out. That actually, they show that here.
Experts, I think they're all full of shit.
How is anything she said there common sense? It's literally the opposite of common sense. She's explaining an international operation to kill a YouTuber. She's always going on about these Egyptian planes, but she never posts evidence of anything.
Actually, frankly, just pissing me off. So I became locked in on these Egyptian planes because that's how I am. Okay, you keep pushing me and keep pushing me, I will become an expert on these planes. I'll learn how to build an Egyptian plane. And the reality is, like I said, tomorrow I will.
That would be interesting. You could do a whole series on that.
We'll show you how these planes tie back to Israel.
She never got around to this. I know, hard to imagine. It's gotten to the point where even Alex Jones is calling her a baseless conspiracy theorist.
Dealing with Candace Owens, just as soon as the whole Egyptian plane thing gets.
Okay, here's a question. Did Alex Jones ever star in the WWE? Because, I don't really even watch that, but he feels like he has the voice and the temperament for that sort of thing.
It's debunked with all the facts. Now she's moved to something else, and I'm really worried about her. I'm worried about her and her mind. But her latest source and what she's done, implicating the U.S. military and all this other stuff, is just so damaging. And when you go investigate it, it's so crazy. And just like with the Egyptian plane, she says she has the metadata, then publish it. And when she did publish it, and it got fact-checked, it wasn't accurate.
The closest thing I could find to her proof about these Egyptian planes is when she posted the flight logs in a tweet saying Tyler Robinson must have some powerful friends, implying that the people on this plane collaborated with Tyler Robinson to do it, but her only proof is that a plane flew out of an airport that day. At this point, why stop at blaming just that plane? Blame every plane to take off from the airport that day. We have
If you're just picking like a name out of that, Egyptian plane, like there's probably a lot of different planes that would have been, I don't know.
reached peak schizophrenia. She also claims that this plane's first visit to America was on July 20th, and it was at an army base in Nebraska. But if you look at the very flight log she posted on her tweet, it shows that the plane stopped at OMA and LMK Airport. These are the public airports of Omaha, Nebraska and Lincoln, Nebraska. Candace, where's the military base? This is what I mean by she just says stuff. When people pointed out that she's wrong, she doesn't acknowledge it. She just says it's the Zionist coming after her.
And I'm like, this is happening. It's like a psychological.
Crafty Jews, again. I believe it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. For legal purposes, I'm kidding. Also kidding about that.
Operation, because it's completely crazy. And when you see a media storm like this, it can only be happening because Zionists are locking arms and going attack, because they by and large control the media. They
all hail Zog. That's the thing, right? Zionist something government, a shadow cabal or something.
Just do, okay, one way or the other. Zion.
I think it is true that Jews do often. They would have gone, I think, into a lot of the movie business or the news business and whatnot like that. But culture is a strange sort of thing. It's one of those things where I think people often mistake, disparities or distinctive trends as some sort of manipulation. Where, I don't think it's always the case. The notion would be, okay, so why didn't you see a lot of, paraplegics running marathons? Well, because they can't, So the notion that there are all of these, I guess we'll say women out there who are just dying to become CEOs. Well, no, not necessarily. I imagine most people would like to become a CEO just because it's a lot of money. But that's not necessarily mean that there's all of these women who have this natural bent towards being a CEO. They're dreaming of this growing up as a little girl, and that men are keeping them down. I don't think that's necessarily the case. People just have natural tendencies. Cultures take natural trends. And Jewish culture tends to be, oriented towards maybe handling money well or dealing with that sort of stuff. So that's my theory.
Control the empire medias, and they are scared about something in this investigation. We've noticed that from the very beginning.
It's amazing that we live in a world where if you're caught blatantly lying like Candace was, you could just blame Zionist and half the internet will forgive you. Works for a son.
That's what I do.
Why not Candace? My point is, if your common sense can only be explained by elaborate media and global...
It is almost like there's the idea of the horseshoe theory coming up recently. It does feel like, I think quite often, the people you would dislike on one side of the political spectrum are the same sort of people that you would dislike on the other side of the political spectrum. Like the extreme fringes are perhaps similar to some extent.
Global cabals operating behind the scenes, it's no longer common sense, but it gets worse. The interview took place 2 months after Charlie's death, and by that time, Candace was already framing herself as more trustworthy than experts.
Why it's a statistical anomaly.
She doesn't have a stutter, does she? Because that had come across to like it might just be like a hitch in her giddy up or something like that. Brain glitch.
These Egyptian planes to be surrounding Turning Point USA faith events, you and Charlie, this many times. How would that impact? And again, I'm a gut player. It's common sense. So forgive me for not being elite enough and educated enough and expert enough to understand how
you're forgiven.
It would impact things. Explain it to me like I'm not a legal expert, Like I don't trust legal experts. I think they're all full of shit.
But when Ellie asks questions based off basic information, it becomes blatantly clear that Candace doesn't know anything. Ellie asks why Candace thinks Tyler's text messages are fake, and Candace cites Discord for some reason.
Do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily...
Ginger. Don't trust her. I think this is a ginger anyways. Is that red? Or it's just blonde? I don't know. Looks kind of red on my screen.
Yeah, prove it.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
Which means she didn't even bother to read the indictment, which says text messages. Now, there is also Discord messages between...
Yeah, I'd seen that.
Tyler and his friends, but Candace claims that Discord says they're fake.
Have messages, it's all over. We found it on Discord. Discord is going to say that's not true. So who made up these messages?
I have no idea where Candace is getting that they're fake from. Discord literally provided the messages. I'm sorry for all of this. Read a message from the suspect's account. Discord provided a copy of the message with the confession to authorities. And then when I am able to track down Candace's sources, they'll...
Anyways, she seems like a very shoot from the hip type of individual. And to be fair, that would be fine if she were like a low conviction sort of person, or if she were a little bit more discreet. I think it would be fine, right? But she seems like she presents these things with a degree of confidence that is perhaps untoward, and she blabbers it to the whole world as well. And that seems to be one of the bigger problems. Anyways, that's Everybody Hates Candace by Willie Mack Show. Everybody Hates Candace Owens, sorry. By Willie Mack Show. You can go check that out if you want.